over there for getting me here. And I'm Mike Causey, your Commissioner of Insurance, and I'm glad the weather's cooperating. We don't have bright sunshine, but it's not raining on us. So thank you all. I want to thank Mark Ezell, Director of the Governor's Highway Safety Program, Sheriff Steve Bizzle. You'll be hearing from both those in just a few minutes. But before we get going, I want everybody just to take a minute and look at this beautiful property. It didn't get this way by itself. I want to thank DOT, the North Carolina Department of Transportation, Division 4. They have outshined any place I've ever been for this kind of manicured greens. I don't know, I wasn't here, but somebody told me they saw folks out here with scissors clipping the grass so it would be just right for Dr. Cheryl Leonard and Mark Ezell. But we're here today to call attention to something that's killing people every week across North Carolina and across the nation, and that's children and pets and sometimes the elderly left in hot cars and they die. We just had a case up in the Piedmont Triad where a lady was a health care worker, went to work on a new job to take care of somebody at their home, and it was against the company rules to take anybody with you, child or anybody else. Well, this woman had a baby, did not have a babysitter, and left the child in the car while she goes inside tending to her home health care duties, and it ended up being several hours, and when she came back outside, that child was unresponsive, had a heat stroke. Instead of immediately calling 911, she gets in her car and drives to her house because she didn't want to get fired from her job. And by the time she called 911 and the ambulance got there, that child was practically brain dead with kidney damage, is not dead at this moment, but still in the hospital in intensive care. And we also had a dog that died last week, similar issue. A lady went into the store, left the dog in the shopping mall in the car, had a little crack in the window, and the dog was so hot, tried to escape out the window and ended up hanging himself. So, another dead pet. So these are preventable deaths, and it just takes people using common sense and think before you leave anybody in a car for any length of time. And we tell folks to put something, a pocketbook, a cell phone, computer, anything that you have to retrieve in your back seat, so you'll have to open that door as a reminder. But Cheryl didn't give me an order. I guess I can look on this sheet, but Mark Ezell is the director of the Governor's Highway Safety Program. He's got all the notes. So I'm going to call on Mark Ezell to come up, longtime friend. And I will say this, before I got elected insurance commissioner, I worked for the Department of Transportation. I was the Adopt a Highway coordinator, tried to keep the trash off the sides of the road and all the folks that adopt these highways. And when I worked with DOT, and but prior to 2016, Mark Ezell was the director of the Governor's Highway Safety Program, and he's still there. So I think that's a testament to the job he's done. So, Mark.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's been a wonderful partnership with your office and with your folks and your fantastic staff as we work together to keep North Carolinians safe. Commissioner Causey had a very important message there, that each year we have too many children, pets, and older citizens who die a preventable death from heat stroke. And as the director of the Governor's Highway Safety Program, this is an issue we care a great deal about, as does the North Carolina Department of Insurance, as does local law enforcement, such as Sheriff Bizzle, his team that's here, and all these law enforcement folks that you see behind us. Basically, as temperatures are rising across the country, parents and caregivers everywhere have got to remember that it only takes seconds to save lives by stopping to look and lock your car doors. A busy parent or a caregiver can easily, unintentionally forget that a quiet or sleeping child is in the back. And sadly, this most often occurs with children when the children are especially young, under the age of 1. Those kind of instances account for more than a half of the total child hot care deaths that have occurred in this country since 1998. So last year in 2024, all across the country, we had 39 children die as a result of heat stroke in vehicles. And that's a substantial increase, a 35% increase from the number in 2023. So we've got to do a lot to continue to get that word out. Now, I'll give you a few statistics that I think are pretty illuminating about this topic. According to the National Safety Council, a car can heat by 20 degrees in only 10 minutes. So it only takes 10 minutes for a car to get 20 degrees hotter. And a child's body temperature is going to rise 3 to 4 times faster than the body temperature of an adult. Therefore, it's really vital to make sure that no child is left in a hot car for even 1 minute. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, heat stroke can begin when a child's core body temperature reaches 104 degrees, and death can occur when it reaches 107 degrees. So there's a lot of things you can do. I think one of the best pieces of advice was what you just got from the commissioner, which is that you make sure that you have something of value, like your cell phone or a pocketbook or something of that nature that's in the back with the young child. So that way you can remind yourself to retrieve not only that cell phone, but obviously that child. Now, it's summer, and summertime is a popular time for family travel. That's part of why Governor's Highway Safety Program has so many summer campaign messages. We've got 101 days between Memorial Day and Labor Day. And those are generally when you have a lot of recreational activities happening. Those recreational activities, without proper preparation and care, can end in tragedy. So throughout those deadly days of summer, we're holding things like the Boozin' and Losing campaign to deal with impaired driving prevention, the Click It or Ticket campaign to spread awareness of the dangers of driving without a seatbelt. And so we want to add this campaign, this vital child passenger safety campaign, to that mix. Following this campaign, Governor's Highway Safety Program will be holding a child passenger safety awareness and enforcement campaign that we're going to be doing in September. And that's going to also inform parents of the importance of keeping their children safe, especially in installing properly a car seat. So this message about heat stroke prevention goes hand in hand with all of those messages we're trying to get across the state to parents and caregivers. So we have a lot of partners in this. One of our most valuable partners are our local sheriffs, and I would like to introduce now one of those local sheriffs from Johnston County, Sheriff Steve Bizzle. Sheriff? Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Johnston County. Director Ezell, Commissioner Mike. They're from Raleigh. You know, I'm from the country down here in Johnston County. And when you get the call, we're from Raleigh and we're coming down to help you. Well, you know, you might want to think about that, but thank y'all, because I know y'all are here to help us and the public. the outpouring of law enforcement support. I got my first sergeant with the Highway Patrol back here, the Highway Patrols here, officers from Sampson County, Wake County, Durham County, High Point, Sampson, just to show the outpouring of law enforcement because they care about people. Thank y'all for being here, and of course our deputies from Johnston County are here. I'm here today to talk about a hot topic, literally, and that is excessive heat in vehicles, and what we are here for is to save lives. As you know, some of the hottest temperatures on record we have seen recently. We are reading the stories about children, senior citizens, and pets. Some refer to them as their fur babies being left in vehicles, and the excessive heat gets to them, and we're losing lives. Just last week, Mike, I too read the story in Moore County where the person left her dog in a car while they went in, came out, the dog tried to get out and actually died. The dog hung himself, I understand from what I read, trying to get out of the car. I was actually in Newbern on Sunday with my wife, and we stopped at the Belks in Newbern. We went in, we came out, we got in the car, and sitting right in the front of our vehicle was an elderly lady that was in the passenger side of the vehicle sitting alone. And I looked in the car, and it was 96 degrees. And I told my wife, I said, we can't leave. We got to keep an eye on this lady. About 5 minutes later, a lady that appeared to be her daughter showed up. But that was a case, if that car would have shut down and she'd have got busy, as Mike said, in their shopping. You know, you put a lady in a Belks, man, she's liable to get all messed up. But that's an example. Here was an elderly lady that was left in a car. If that car would have shut down, that could have been a tragic event. Last August here in Johnston County, we had a person that was a caregiver, that was an employee at a school, brought a special needs person that he was entrusted to give care to, left him in the car, checked on him that morning, went back that afternoon after 4 o'clock, and the person had died in the car in the parking lot at a school because of excessive heat in that vehicle. You know, we talk about all of this, but then I'm going to go back to law enforcement. When these events happen, when you have a loss of life, law enforcement, the guys standing behind me, they have to show up and investigate this. We're human also, y'all, and it takes a toll on us emotionally, physically. We have to carry that home and live with it. So keep our law enforcement officers in your prayers as they investigate these and have to deal with it on a family level, a personal level. On a personal note, I went with my wife to the food line in Preston. Sunday was a week ago, and she recently got her a new vehicle, so she went in. I sat in the car in the passenger side. She goes in, and a few minutes later, the car automatically shut down. I didn't realize that her vehicle would automatically shut down. It was hot, so I could have been the guy. On a personal note, that could have been me. So if it can happen to me, it can happen to you. It can happen to anybody. So these new vehicles, I don't know if the public knows it, but sometimes they got an automatic shutdown that could be detrimental to a senior citizen, an elderly person, a child, a pet. So we need to be alert and vigilant of that. So this July 4th weekend, a lot of folks are traveling I-95, I-40, US 70, all across the state of North Carolina and the nation. I encourage our law enforcement officers as well as the motoring public to keep a check on folks. When you drive through the rest area, a lot of people that are traveling alone or sometimes a family will stop at the rest area, do their business, go get in the car and say, you know, let's get a nap. Drop the windows about that much, and they'll go to sleep. So as we're traveling this holiday weekend and every day, let's keep a check as we ride through the rest areas, guys. If we see a vehicle with the window down a little bit, to check on those folks. So that car could have automatically shut down. It could have just happened to shut off, or it could have reached the temperatures that could be detrimental. And again, as we ride around, let's keep a check in the parking lots of grocery stores, any parking lots. And outside of a hot vehicle, we got our DOT workers that are working out, as you mentioned, on trimming the grass with scissors, or just making the roadways look good as we travel across the state. Let's keep out a look for construction workers, our farmers as we are patrolling the back roads, and the DOT workers and other construction workers that are working across the state of North Carolina. Working together, we can raise awareness, we can prevent this, and I want to thank everybody for being in Johnston County today. And in closing, I'd like to offer Mark Ezell and Mike, the insurance commissioner, a free night in the Johnston County Jail. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Bissell. I don't need a place to stay tonight, but I may take you up on that sometime. But thank all of you for being here. We're going to take questions. If any of you in the press have any questions, but I want to close out by thanking all of our law enforcement officers. I know the High Point Police have my back. That's from my home county of Guilford, and we have law enforcement from all across the state. And Sheriff Bissell, thank you for bringing out a good portion of your staff and deputies today. And what Sheriff Bissell said, about watching out for the DOT workers, that includes these tow truck drivers. We have too many towing operators that are killed and this is not the event that we were going to talk about. Since it's Governor's Highway Safety, Mark, I can talk about anything, but a lot of people don't realize that North Carolina is one of the deadliest states in the nation for speed-related fatalities. There's only 2 states in the nation that kill more people on the highways, and that's Texas and California. So we have too many people speeding and too many people texting and driving. In 2023, there was almost 20,000 accidents caused by people texting and driving. 132 people died because of holding a cell phone, using it instead of watching the road. So slow down, keep both hands on the wheel, and this is one of the busiest travel weeks of the year, so be safe on our highways, and again, keep an eye and alert out for anybody that's left unattended in a car. And they say, call 911, but as a last resort, you can break out that window to save a life, whatever it takes. You can replace that window, but you can't replace a life. So thank you all for being here. Are there any questions for Mark Ezell or the sheriff or Dr. Leonard or me? No questions. This is a good group. We got off light, Cheryl. We're going to take a quick photo op, and then we're going to watch what the temperature is, even with the clouds on this cloudy day. So thank you all for being here.